Well guys, I promised a review and here it is. I have a few more planned and a few more written out, so I'm just going to be recording these as I can. So stay up to date and keep an eye on the channel if you want to see those. They'll be coming out this month, at least 2 more. I'm going to try and squeeze in 2 more, so hopefully I will get those done in time, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the first review I'm going to be doing this month is Spiderman for the ps4. It's also known as Marvel's Spider-Man. This game it's really the first in a long time that I've said that a game speaks for itself. This game honestly is just a huge trip down memory lane for me personally, taking heavy inspiration from previous Spider-Man entries, including comics, games, movies, especially from things like Spider-Man 2 and Ultimate Spider-Man and the older Spider-Man games that would have been around. It was fairly faithful to those, and it's just overall impressive. You play as an already experienced Peter Parker who's been clearly juggling his life. He has a double life, so it's been difficult for him. It's taken his toll on his relationships, in his regular life, between his science job, rekindling his friendship with Mary Jane, trying to help out with his Aunt May. Peter just struggles between saving those close to him and saving people as Spider-Man. As we've seen before, this is sort of a not necessarily new story in regards to that dynamic that he has. After defeating an old enemy of Parker's, Mr. Fisk, also known as Kingpin, the city of New York is thrown into chaos. Many groups and criminals, all clamoring for the dethroned mobster's position, all come out of the woodworks, and it's up to you to destroy and eliminate their gangs and societies. The most notable of all is being a man called Mr. Negative. The reveal of this villain it's kind of obvious from the start, like you know who he is, and the game tries to make it like it's a secret, but it's really not. Like, they try to keep it as a secret, or they try to treat it like a secret until Peter finds out, but for the viewer it feels pretty obvious, especially if you've seen like the trailers or anything. He just looks too much like a specific character. I won't say who he is because it is kind of a spoiler. He is quite a unique villain though, adding a unique antithesis to Peter's righteousness of, you know, do whatever is right even if it means risking yourself attitude. The game plays extremely smoothly. You know, the transition from endless city web slinging to stealthy combat, close quarters takedowns, and action-packed brawls in these big open areas can be really flawless. It improves hugely on the previous iterations of web swinger games, and it's really fun to swing around the city. There's so much the dynamic soundtrack even adds to this feeling, as it's kind of like you're playing a movie. That's very much how a lot of this feels. There's so much variety in this game, it's actually very impressive. The way you can customize Spider-Man both aesthetically and the abilities that he can have it's fantastic. There's so many things about this game that are really good, but now with all of that said, it's not a flawless game. Graphically, this game is no Marvel, no pun intended. The most characters are really, you know, sporting maybe early gen PS4 graphics at most, or maybe late gen PS3 graphics. It doesn't take away from the game, but it's noticeable on a few close-ups between characters, and you're kind of just like, ugh, those characters don't look quite right. You know, there's something about it. I suppose it's just an engine limitation to do with probably just having so many things rendered at once. It's a sacrifice that needed to be made, I suppose. Although, while the combat is varied as well, there's a million ways to do things, right? There's so many ways and combinations you can do things, but there's some abilities and some ultimates that clearly are better than others. I found myself often gravitating towards the ones that were better more than the ones that, you know, were more varied, because fights tended to like get repetitive after a time, and I was just sort of trying to be like, okay, well I gotta kill these guys now, so let's just repeat the same move that's really strong because that's more efficient than, you know, varying up my playstyle in terms of killing them. I'd say another thing really holds this game back, and it's sort of a common trope in video games nowadays, is playing as the secondary characters. Like, you know, there's 2 characters that you play in this game. One of them is stealth sections with Mary Jane. Another one is the same idea but with another character, Miles Morales. You may have heard of him from the, you know, Spider-Man movie that just came out recently. These stealth sections are very far from fun. With Mary Jane, it's really boring, and Miles is no different. Like, while these characters are fun to interact with from a character perspective, I don't want to be helplessly sneaking around with, like, you know, instant game overs upon discovery in my superhero game. You know, that's not something I want. It's not just this game, though. Many games do that in an attempt to vary the gameplay, but often, in my opinion, it always falls short. And of course, like all games, this game isn't without glitches. I've only had a few, but some were extremely frustrating to the point where I had to restart a mission at least twice or 3 times. But don't let these things discourage you. This game and the world itself and Spider-Man himself are so beautifully crafted, and this is clearly a labor of love on Insomniac's part. If you are a Spider-Man fan of any degree, or you just love open worlds, this is the game for you. If you ever played Spider-Man 2 especially, I recommend this one. But that being said, there's really not much else to say about the game. I would rate it an 8 out of 10. Fantastic game overall. I had so much fun playing it. I even platinumed it. It's one of the few games that I ended up platinuming. It's a very easy platinum too. So if you're looking for, you know, something to do over Christmas, or if you're looking for a game for friends, this is definitely one of them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourself and have a happy Christmas. Bye bye.